My beloved one, pause for a moment and breathe. Something rare is happening right now, and this is not by accident that you are hearing these words. There are moments in life when the air feels different, when your spirit feels alert without knowing why, when your heart senses movement even though nothing around you has visibly changed. This is one of those moments. Archangel Michael draws near during moments like this, when something subtle is shifting beneath the surface. This message may explain why today feels different. Pause, open, and listen with intention. You may have woken up today with an unusual heaviness or an unexpected clarity. Perhaps you felt emotional for no clear reason, or unusually calm despite unanswered questions. This is not random. This is not your imagination. When spiritual tides begin to turn, the soul often notices before the mind can explain it. What you are sensing is a transition that has already begun in the unseen. And Archangel Michael steps closer when protection, truth, and divine alignment are being activated. Hear this clearly, not every shift announces itself with noise. Some of the most powerful changes happen quietly, like roots growing underground before a tree breaks through the soil. Right now, something beneath the surface of your life is moving into position. Conversations you have not yet had, revelations that have not yet been spoken, and decisions that have not yet been made are already being influenced. This is why today feels different. The unseen is rearranging itself around you. Beloved, there are times when heaven allows you to feel the shift before you see the proof. This is one of those times. Archangel Michael is known as the guardian of divine timing, the defender of truth, and the warrior who stands when deception is being exposed. When he draws near, it is often because clarity is approaching and confusion is about to lose its grip. If you have been questioning your direction, doubting your discernment, or wondering whether you missed a sign, hear this. You are not late, you are not lost, and you have not been forgotten. Something subtle is changing in how you see people, situations, and even yourself. You may notice that certain words suddenly feel heavy, certain environments feel uncomfortable, or certain relationships feel out of alignment. This is not rejection. This is refinement. Archangel Michael does not come to create chaos, but to bring order. When truth draws near, false comfort begins to feel uncomfortable. When alignment approaches, distractions begin to lose their appeal. Listen carefully now. Today feels different because a layer is lifting. What once confused you is starting to reveal its true shape. What once strained you is beginning to lose its power. What once felt delayed is quietly being repositioned. This is not the day where everything changes on the outside, but it is the day where everything begins to change on the inside. And inner shifts always come before visible breakthroughs. You may have been holding back your voice, your decision, or your faith because you were waiting for certainty. But certainty often comes after obedience, not before it. Archangel Michael stands near you now, not to rush you, but to strengthen you. His presence signals courage, not recklessness. It is a reminder that you do not walk into the next season unprotected or unprepared. There is also a reason this message reached you today and not yesterday or tomorrow. Timing matters. Today is a threshold moment, a moment where awareness itself is a key. When you pause and listen with intention, you align yourself with what heaven is already doing. Many people rush past moments like this because they are distracted, tired, or skeptical. But you stayed. It tells me something about your spirit. It tells me that you are sensitive to divine nudges, even when you cannot fully explain them. Do not ignore the gentle restlessness you feel. It is not anxiety, it is activation. Do not dismiss the sudden memories, thoughts, or realizations surfacing today. They are not random. They are signaled. Something you once accepted without question is now asking to be examined. Something you once feared is now losing its authority. This is how freedom begins, quietly, internally, intentionally. Archangel Michael does not always arrive with dramatic signs. Sometimes his nearness is felt as resolve returning to your spine, as peace settling in your chest, as truth becoming harder to avoid. Today feels different because you are being prepared to stand firmer, speak clearer, and choose wiser. And preparation always feels unfamiliar before it feels powerful. Stay with this moment. Do not rush back into noise. Let your spirit fully receive what is being activated. You are not behind. You are right on the edge of understanding something that will soon make sense of the last season of confusion. What is shifting beneath the surface will not remain hidden for long. And as you continue listening, you will begin to notice how this quiet shift starts to influence your choices, your reactions, and your confidence. This is only the beginning. My precious one, what you are experiencing now is the echo of something already decided in the spiritual realm. When a shift begins quietly, the mind often tries to rationalize it away. But the soul knows better. You may find yourself revisiting thoughts you believed were settled, or feeling a pull toward reflection instead of distraction. This is not weakness. This is awareness awakening. Archangel Michael draws closer when discernment is sharpening, when the inner eyes are opening wider than before. There are layers within your life that were built for survival, not for destiny. And right now, those layers are being gently questioned. You are noticing patterns you once tolerated. You are sensing intentions behind words, not just the words themselves. This is not making you judgmental. It is making you clear. Clarity often arrives before comfort, and that is why this moment may feel unfamiliar. Growth rarely announces itself as excitement at first. Often, it feels like a quiet seriousness settling in your spirit. Hear this deeply. Today feels different because you are being invited into responsibility, not burden. Responsibility over your peace. Responsibility over your attention. Responsibility over what you allow to influence your emotions. Archangel Michael does not fight battles for those who refuse to stand. He strengthens those who are ready to take their position. And right now, you are being positioned. You may have noticed that certain distractions no longer satisfy you. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. Noise that once helped you escape now feels draining. This is not because something is wrong with you. It is because you are outgrowing what once fit. When heaven prepares you for something deeper, it loosens your attachment to what is shallow. That loosening can feel like loss, but it is actually preparation. Beloved, there is a subtle courage rising in you. Not loud confidence, not impulsive boldness, but a steady knowing that you cannot remain the same. This courage is not pushing you to confront everything at once. It is simply asking you to stop pretending that what hurts you does not matter. Archangel Michael stands beside those who choose truth over comfort, even when truth requires patience. Pay attention to what is surfacing in your thoughts today. Old questions may be returning, but now with a different tone. Instead of fear, there is curiosity. Instead of confusion, there is a desire for understanding. This is how wisdom begins to form. Wisdom is not information, it is alignment. And alignment always starts internally. Some of you have been asking silently, why now? The answer is simple and profound. Because you are ready now. Not because everything around you is perfect, but because you have reached a point where staying the same would cost you more than changing. Archangel Michael does not appear when life is easy. He appears when truth must be chosen deliberately. Let me speak to your heart for a moment. You are not imagining this shift. You are not overthinking. You are not becoming distant or cold. You are becoming grounded. There is a difference. Grounded people move differently. They listen more. They react less. They choose with intention. And this is why today feels different, because you are beginning to anchor yourself in something deeper than emotion. If this message is resonating with you, if your spirit feels seen or stirred, take a moment to acknowledge it. Engage with this space. Let your presence be known. Like this message so it reaches others who are sensing the same shift but cannot yet name it. Share it with someone who has told you something feels different today but doesn't know why. Leave a comment with what you are feeling right now. Sometimes clarity comes when we give language to the unspoken. And if you have not already, connect yourself to this channel. Subscribe. Become part of this growing circle of listeners who are learning to discern the quiet movements of the Spirit. This is not just content. It is a gathering of awareness. Your engagement strengthens the reach of these messages, and your presence here is not accidental. There is more unfolding beneath the surface than you realize. What you are sensing today is only the first ripple. As you continue listening, the picture will become clearer, the connection stronger, the purpose more defined. Do not rush ahead mentally. Let each layer reveal itself in its time. Hold on, because what is coming next will bring insight to things you thought were unrelated. What you are about to understand will help you make sense of why this season has felt the way it has. Stay present. Stay open. This is where it begins to connect. My cherished soul, there is a reason the inner noise has quieted just enough for you to hear something deeper. Silence is not emptiness. It is a doorway. When life slows your attention instead of your circumstances, heaven is inviting you to perceive rather than react. Archangel Michael draws especially close in these moments, not to overwhelm you with answers, but to steady you while truth rises to the surface. What is being revealed now could not have been understood by the version of you from the past. You're standing at a subtle intersection where old perceptions can no longer guide new decisions. This is why familiar solutions feel insufficient. You are not meant to repeat what once worked. You are meant to discern what aligns now. Archangel Michael's presence carries discernment like a blade of light, not to wound, but to separate what is real from what only appeared necessary. Today, that separation is happening gently, internally, and deliberately. There are realizations forming that do not yet have words. You may sense them as a quiet resistance to certain expectations placed on you by others, or even by your former self. What once felt like duty may now feel like pressure. What once felt like loyalty may now feel like compromise. This does not mean you are abandoning your values. It means your values are becoming more refined. Growth often feels like tension before it feels like freedom. Understand this. When Archangel Michael draws near, it is often because courage is being requested. Not the courage to fight others, but the courage to stand honest with yourself. You are being asked to acknowledge what you have been carrying that was never meant to be permanent. Some burdens were temporary lessons, not lifelong identities. Recognizing this is not failure, it is wisdom arriving on time. You may notice memories resurfacing, not to haunt you, but to be reinterpreted. Events you once blamed yourself for are now revealing hidden protection. Delays you once resented are now showing their purpose. This reframing is not denial of pain. It is redemption of meaning. Archangel Michael guards the gates of truth, and when truth arrives, it does not accuse. It clarifies. There is also strengthening happening within your will. You are less willing to betray your inner knowing for the sake of approval. This shift may feel isolating at first, because alignment often reduces noise before it increases peace. Do not confuse solitude with abandonment. Some distances are created so you can hear your own spirit again without interference. Let me speak this clearly. You are not becoming harder. You are becoming truer. Sensitivity and strength are not opposites. In fact, spiritual sensitivity requires immense strength because it demands honesty in a world that rewards distraction. Archangel Michael stands with those who choose truth even when it costs comfort, because he knows that comfort without truth eventually becomes captivity. What is emerging in you now is not meant to be rushed into explanation. Some truths need time to settle so they do not become weapons against yourself or others. You are learning restraint, not suppression. You are learning timing, not fear. This is why today feels different, because wisdom is being formed quietly, without spectacle. Pay attention to the choices that feel heavier today. Heaviness does not always mean wrong. Sometimes it means significant. The decisions that carry weight are often the ones that shape seasons. You are being guided to choose with intention, not impulse. Archangel Michael's guidance is rarely loud, but it is always firm. When something is not aligned, you will feel it in your spirit before you can explain it logically. There is a protective covering over you in this moment. That does not mean challenges disappear, but it does mean confusion will not conquer you if you remain attentive. You are being shielded from rushing into what looks right but is not ready. Timing is part of protection, and patience is one of its greatest allies. As this part of the message settles into you, allow yourself to receive it without argument. You do not need to defend what you are becoming. You do not need permission to grow. The shift you feel today is preparing you to walk more honestly, love more wisely, and stand more firmly in who you are called to be. Before we move any further, seal this moment with intention. Type "I receive divine clarity" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 945 has just been released. And now, hear this invitation as part of the same divine flow. As I speak, I sense the Father saying, "When you sow into light, I multiply it beyond your sight." This message is reaching souls who are standing at the same quiet threshold you are, and your obedience helps the light travel further. I feel led to tell you plainly, when you release support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are placing oil into a lamp that guides the uncertain home. Just as seed falls into soil and rises as harvest, your giving becomes a river of revelation for those who are still searching. Do not delay what heaven is prompting. This is a prophetic response, not a donation. I speak blessing over every giver now. May clarity increase, protection surround you, and provision answer you swiftly. Act now, and let your obedience unlock light for others. Beloved heart, now that the inner lens has begun to clear, you may notice how differently you are responding to the world around you. Situations that once provoked immediate emotion now invite reflection. Words that once held power over you now pass through without anchoring. This is not detachment. It is maturity of spirit. Archangel Michael's nearness strengthens this inner steadiness, reminding you that reaction is optional when discernment is active. There is a recalibration happening in how you interpret meaning. You are no longer accepting surface explanations. You are sensing layers, motives, and energies beneath conversations and events. This can feel disorienting at first, because awareness expands faster than certainty. But this phase is necessary. Before clarity becomes confidence, it must first become curiosity. You are allowed to observe without immediately concluding. You may also feel a gentle resistance rising when something asks too much of you without honoring your peace. This is new territory for some of you. In the past, you may have equated sacrifice with virtue, endurance with faithfulness. But Archangel Michael now teaches you a different lesson. Discernment is also obedience. Not every demand deserves your agreement. Not every expectation is divinely assigned. Notice how your body responds lately. Tightness, fatigue, or restlessness may appear when you are near something misaligned. Calm, warmth, or focus may arise when you are moving in truth. Your spirit speaks through sensation when words are not yet formed. This does not mean you must analyze every feeling, but it does mean you should respect what consistently appears. Patterns reveal guidance. There is also an unlearning taking place. You are releasing the belief that strength means carrying everything alone. You are discovering that strength can also mean pausing, asking, and waiting. Archangel Michael's strength is not reckless force. It is disciplined power. He moves with precision, not urgency. And that same precision is being cultivated in you. Some of you are realizing that certain struggles were prolonged because you believe they proved your worth. But worth was never meant to be proven through exhaustion. Worth is inherent. Today feels different because the truth is beginning to settle, not as an idea, but as a lived understanding. You are allowed to choose paths that honor your well-being without guilt. You may also feel a quiet separation occurring. Not dramatic endings, not confrontations, but a natural drifting away from what no longer resonates. This can bring a sense of grief, even when the separation is healthy. Allow that grief its space. Release does not negate gratitude. You can honor what was while still stepping toward what is. Archangel Michael often stands at thresholds, guarding transitions so they are not entered prematurely or fearfully. Right now, he is not pushing you forward or pulling you back. He is simply standing with you, ensuring you cross with awareness. You are learning to move from choice instead of compulsion. There is a deeper trust forming within you. Not blind trust in outcomes, but trust in your capacity to respond wisely. You are beginning to believe that even if things unfold differently than expected, you will meet them with discernment. This trust reduces anxiety because fear thrives where self-trust is absent. Do not be surprised if your dreams become more vivid or your intuition more active. When conscious awareness expands, subconscious communication often intensifies. Messages may come symbolically rather than literally. Do not rush to decode them. Let them inform you gently. Understanding often arrives after patience, not pressure. You are also learning the value of restraint. Not everything you perceive needs to be spoken immediately. Silence can be protective. Archangel Michael teaches when to speak and when to stand watchfully quiet. Both are acts of wisdom. Both are forms of strength. This phase may not feel dramatic to others, but it is transformative for you. Inner realignment rarely draws applause, yet it changes everything that follows. You are laying a foundation that will support decisions, relationships, and opportunities yet to come. Foundations are built below ground, unseen but essential. If impatience whispers to you, remind yourself that depth takes time. Rapid change impresses the eye, but lasting change anchors the soul. What is forming in you now will not easily be shaken later. This is preparation disguised as stillness. As you continue forward, remain attentive rather than anxious. You do not need to figure out the entire path. You only need to stay honest with each step. Archangel Michael's presence assures you that protection accompanies sincerity. When your intention is pure, guidance is never far. Let this understanding settle without striving. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where refinement happens. And from this place, clarity will continue to unfold, one layer at a time, until what once felt subtle becomes unmistakably clear. My beloved one, as this inner alignment continues, you may notice that your sense of time feels different. Moments stretch where they once rushed, and urgency no longer has the same authority over you. This is not delay, it is depth. When the spirit begins to lead instead of habit, time reorganizes itself around intention. Archangel Michael's presence steadies this shift, teaching you that divine movement is not frantic, even when it is powerful. You are beginning to recognize the difference between pressure and purpose. Pressure demands immediate action fueled by fear. Purpose invites deliberate movement guided by clarity. Many of the decisions you once rushed are now asking to be revisited with patience. This does not mean you made mistakes. It means you are ready to understand them more fully. Growth revisits old ground not to trap you, but to show you how far you have come. There is also a refinement happening in your desires. You may find that what you once wanted intensely now feels optional, while things you barely noticed before feel meaningful. This is one of the clearest signs of internal change. Desire shifts when identity evolves. Archangel Michael guards identity fiercely, because identity determines direction. When you know who you are becoming, you stop chasing what does not belong to you. Some of you are feeling an unexpected pull towards simplicity. Not emptiness, but clarity. You want fewer explanations, fewer obligations, fewer emotional entanglements that require constant negotiation of your peace. This is not withdrawal from life. It is engagement with life on truer terms. Complexity often hides misalignment. Simplicity reveals truth. You may also notice that your tolerance for dishonesty, even subtle dishonesty, has diminished. Half-truths, avoidance, or emotional manipulation stand out more clearly now. This awareness might feel uncomfortable, especially if it shows up in places you once felt safe. But discernment is not betrayal. Seeing clearly does not mean you love less. It means you love honestly. Archangel Michael's role in your life right now is not to remove every challenge, but to sharpen your inner compass. A sharp compass does not change the terrain, but it ensures you do not wander aimlessly within it. You are being trained to trust direction over emotion, guidance over impulse. There is also a deepening humility forming in you, not the kind that diminishes self-worth, but the kind that releases the need to control outcomes. You are learning that not everything requires your intervention. Some things unfold best when you step back and allow truth to surface on its own. This humility brings relief, because control is exhausting when it was never yours to hold. Pay attention to how you recover from moments of doubt now. Where doubt once lingered and spiraled, it now passes more quickly. This is resilience taking root. Resilience is not the absence of doubt. It is the ability to return to center without self-condemnation. Archangel Michael strengthens this return, reminding you that questioning does not disqualify you from faith. There may also be an invitation emerging to forgive, not to excuse, but to release. Forgiveness does not rewrite history. It frees the present. Carrying unresolved resentment clouds discernment. As clarity increases, the weight of old bitterness becomes more noticeable. Letting go is not weakness, it is alignment with peace. You are also becoming more selective with your energy. Where you invest attention, emotion, and effort now matters deeply to you. This activity is not selfishness, it is stewardship. Your energy is a resource, and like any valuable resource, it must be managed wisely. Archangel Michael teaches stewardship because protection is ineffective without wisdom. This season may not come with dramatic announcements or visible markers. Others may not notice the depth of what is changing within you. That is all right. Transformation does not require witnesses to be valid. The most important shifts are often private because they shape the choices you make long after the moment passes. If uncertainty arises, do not rush to escape it. Sit with it briefly. Ask what it is teaching rather than how quickly it can be resolved. Curiosity disarms fear. Fear loses power when it is observed instead of obeyed. This is a skill you are learning now, and it will serve you well in the days ahead. Archangel Michael remains near, not as a constant voice, but as a steady presence. You may not always feel him, but his influence is evident in a way you are choosing differently. Strength is forming quietly like muscle built through consistent, unseen effort. As you move forward from here, trust that each subtle adjustment is leading somewhere meaningful. You are not drifting. You are being guided with precision, even when the path feels gentle. What is unfolding will soon become clearer, and when it does, you will recognize this moment as the turning point where awareness became direction. My dear one, as awareness settles deeper within you, you may begin to notice how your reactions are no longer automatic. There is a pause now, a space between what happens and how you respond. That space is sacred. It is where wisdom lives. Archangel Michael often works in that pause, strengthening discernment so you no longer feel compelled to act from old reflexes. This is not hesitation. It is mastery forming quietly. You are becoming more conscious of the difference between what demands your attention and what truly deserves it. Many voices compete for your focus every day, but fewer carry truth. Today, you are learning to listen inwardly before responding outwardly. This inner listening changes everything. It protects your peace, sharpens your judgment, and keeps you from being pulled into cycles that no longer serve you. There is also a new honesty emerging in how you speak to yourself. You are less willing to excuse what hurts you and less interested in dramatizing what does not matter. This balance is rare. It shows emotional maturity growing alongside spiritual clarity. Archangel Michael's influence often brings this kind of grounded self-awareness, where compassion and strength coexist. You may notice that some opportunities no longer excite you the way they once did. This does not mean you are losing ambition. It means your ambition is being refined. You are beginning to value alignment over applause, meaning over momentum. This shift protects you from chasing paths that look impressive but lead nowhere fulfilling. At the same time, you may feel a renewed respect for your own boundaries. Saying no feels less like guilt and more like honesty. Saying yes feels more intentional, less pressured. Boundaries are not walls, they are guides. They show others how to meet you without harming what you are building within. Archangel Michael stands guard at these boundaries, ensuring they are not crossed carelessly. Some of you are realizing that peace is not found by avoiding difficulty, but by facing it with clarity. You are no longer waiting for fear to disappear before you move forward. Instead, you are learning to move wisely even when uncertainty remains. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision not to let fear decide for you. There is also a growing sense of authorship returning to your life. You feel less like a character reacting to circumstances and more like a participant shaping direction. This does not mean you control everything, but it does mean you choose how you engage. Choice restores dignity. Choice restores agency. And agency restores confidence. If you look back honestly, you will see how far you have already come. Situations that once consumed your energy now feel smaller. Problems that once defined your mood no longer dominate your thoughts. This is evidence of internal expansion. When the inner world grows stronger, the outer world loses its power to overwhelm. Archangel Michael's presence is subtle here, but steady. He is not pushing you to confront everything at once. He is teaching you rhythm. When to step forward, when to pause, when to speak, when to observe. This rhythm brings sustainability, not burnout. It ensures that growth is not just intense, but lasting. If this message is helping you recognize changes within yourself, take a moment to interact with it. Let your engagement anchor what you are receiving. Like this video so this clarity can reach others who are quietly awakening to the same shift. Share it with someone who had been telling you they feel different but cannot explain why. Your action may be the confirmation they need. Leave a comment with what part of this message resonates most right now. Speaking it out helps solidify understanding. And if you have not yet connected fully, subscribe to this channel and become part of this growing space of discernment and truth. When you engage consistently, these messages find you right when you need them. There is more unfolding than what you see in this moment. The awareness forming now will soon be tested gently, not to break you, but to strengthen your trust in it. What comes next will help you see how all these subtle changes are converging into something practical and actionable. Hold on, because what you are about to understand next will help you recognize how this inner shift begins to affect your external choices in very real ways. This is where insight starts turning into direction, and you will want to witness how it unfolds. Beloved soul, as these inner changes mature, you may begin to see how subtly yet powerfully they are influencing your outer life. Decisions that once felt confusing now come with a quiet sense of rightness or resistance. You are no longer asking only, does this make sense? But also, does this feel aligned? This deeper question marks a turning point. Archangel Michael's guidance often becomes most visible not through dramatic signs, but through this steady inner calibration. You may notice that your patience has changed. Not weakened, but refined. You are less tolerant of cycles that repeat without growth, yet more patient with processes that are genuinely unfolding. This discernment saves you from wasted energy. It allows you to invest in what evolves rather than what simply consumes time. Patience, when guided by wisdom, is not passive, it is selective. There is also a shift in how you view conflict. Where you once felt the need to explain yourself endlessly or defend your intentions, you now feel more at peace letting truth stand on its own. This does not mean you avoid difficult conversations. It means you no longer engage in battles that only drain without resolving. Archangel Michael teaches strategic strength. Not every fight proves courage. Sometimes restraint is the greater victory. You may find yourself becoming more observant of patterns in others as well. Not in a critical way, but in an understanding way. You are seeing how fear shapes behavior, how insecurity drives control, how unresolved pain repeats itself. This awareness can bring compassion, but it can also bring clarity about what you can and cannot change. Compassion does not require participation in dysfunction. There is a growing sense of internal authority forming within you. You trust your discernment more than external validation. Opinions still matter, but they no longer override your inner knowing. This is a significant development. When you stop outsourcing your sense of truth, you reclaim power that was never meant to live outside you. Archangel Michael's role here is to fortify that authority so it does not become arrogance or isolation. True authority remains teachable. It listens. It adjusts. It does not harden. You are learning this balance now. Strong but open. Firm but humble. This balance allows you to move through life without losing yourself in either resistance or compliance. You may also feel a clear distinction between what is urgent and what is important. Urgency often shouts. Importance speaks calmly but persistently. Today, you are learning to respond to the latter. This reduces anxiety, because much of anxiety is fueled by false urgency. When you stop reacting to everything that demands immediate attention, your nervous system begins to rest. Rest does not mean stagnation. In fact, rest restores clarity. From clarity comes effective action. You are beginning to act less frequently, but more meaningfully. Each step carries more intention. Each decision holds more weight. This is how lives change direction without chaos. There is also a new honesty in how you measure success. You are less impressed by speed and more interested in sustainability. You are asking whether outcomes support your peace, your values, and your long-term well-being. This perspective protects you from achievements that look good but feel empty. Archangel Michael guards this kind of integrity because it aligns action with purpose. Some of you may be experiencing moments of solitude that feel different from loneliness. Solitude now feels clarifying rather than heavy. It gives you space to integrate what you are learning. Do not rush to fill every quiet moment. Silence is not something to escape. It is something to use wisely. Many answers surface only when noise fades. At the same time, you may feel a stronger pull toward connections that feel mutual, grounded, and sincere. Superficial interactions no longer satisfy you. Dev call it a dev. This does not mean you withdraw from others. It means you engage more intentionally. Quality begins to matter more than quantity, in relationships as well as in commitments. If doubt tries to revisit you, it may sound subtler now. Instead of loud accusations, it may whisper questions. When that happens, return to what you know through experience, not speculation. Look at how you are responding differently. Look at the peace that follows certain choices. Evidence of growth is often lived, not argued. Archangel Michael remains present, not as a constant sensation, but as a stabilizing influence. You may notice his guidance in how quickly you regain balance after disruption, how clearly you see through confusion, how firmly you hold your values under pressure. These are signs of protection at work. As you continue forward, trust that what is forming within you is preparing you for situations you have not yet encountered. Preparation often feels subtle because it focuses on capacity, not circumstance. When the moment arrives that requires this level of clarity, you will be grateful for this season of quiet strengthening. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. The path ahead will soon reveal why this internal work mattered so much. And when it does, you will recognize that what once felt like a subtle shift beneath the surface was actually the foundation of a profound change taking shape. My beloved one, now you are beginning to sense how this quiet transformation is not only shaping your inner world, but also preparing you for moments that are approaching faster than you realize. There is a readiness forming in you that cannot be rushed, yet it is unmistakably active. You are no longer merely healing from what was, you are being trained for what is coming. Archangel Michael draws especially close during seasons like this, when preparation matters more than explanation. You may notice that situations are testing your discernment gently. Small choices, brief interactions, subtle invitations. These are not random. They are opportunities to practice alignment before larger decisions arrive. Heaven often trains in whispers before it requires action and clarity. You are learning to trust the signal without demanding a sign. That trust is strength. There is also a noticeable shift in how you handle disappointment. Where disappointment once knocked the wind out of you, it now informs you. You ask different questions. Instead of "why did this happen to me?" you ask, "what is this showing me?" This change in questioning marks maturity. Archangel Michael strengthens those who seek truth rather than comfort, because truth builds endurance. You are also becoming more aware of how quickly energy shifts around you. Some environments drain you almost immediately now. Others restore you without effort. The sensitivity is not fragility. It is attunement. When awareness heightens, tolerance for misalignment decreases. This is how protection works before danger ever appears. Beloved, do not underestimate what is happening here. You are learning to move with spiritual precision. Not everything deserves your reaction. Not everything deserves your explanation. Some things are simply information, not invitations. Archangel Michael teaches this distinction because it keeps you from unnecessary battles. You may also feel an increasing responsibility toward your own integrity. You are less willing to say things you do not mean or agree to things that conflict with your values. This does not make life easier in the short term, but it makes it truer in the long term. Integrity creates a life that does not require constant self-betrayal to maintain. There is a quiet boldness emerging in you. Undeniable. You stand differently now. You listen differently. You choose differently. People may sense this before they understand it. Some will respect it. Some may resist it. Neither response should distract you. Your task is not to manage reactions, but to remain aligned. Archangel Michael's presence also brings a heightened sense of justice within you. You are less comfortable ignoring what feels wrong, even when ignoring it would be easier. This does not mean you fix everything. It means you stop pretending that wrong does not exist. Acknowledgement is the first step toward change, even if action comes later. You may notice moments where you are tempted to doubt this growth, especially when progress feels quiet. But remember, seeds grow in darkness before they break through soil. The absence of visible results does not mean the absence of movement. Much is happening beneath the surface, and it is happening in order. As this understanding deepens, allow gratitude to anchor you. Gratitude stabilizes growth. It keeps awareness from turning into restlessness. Thankfulness does not deny desire for more. It honors the work already done. This balance keeps your spirit grounded, while still open to expansion. Archangel Michael remains near as both protector and witness. He stands as a reminder that strength does not need to announce itself to be real. When the moment arrives that requires decisive clarity, you will recognize how these subtle lessons prepared you to stand firm without panic. Seal this moment now, not with fear, but with faith. Type "I stand in divine alignment" in the comments if this message resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 1818 has just been released. And now, receive this word as a continuation of the same divine flow. I hear the Spirit saying, "Those who water my work will never lack refreshment." This message is not stopping with you. It is meant to reach hearts that feel the same quiet stirring but lack understanding. When you give through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing light into places you may never see, yet heaven records every seed. Just as oil fueled the lamps in sacred times, your support keeps this voice moving where confusion once ruled. This is not a casual moment. It is a prophetic response to what God is stirring within you. I speak blessing over every giver now. May open doors find you. May protection surround your home. And may clarity increase in every decision. Act now in obedience, and let your giving become a testimony that light always multiplies when it is shared. Beloved soul, as this alignment settles more firmly within you, you may begin to notice how your perception of outcomes is changing. You are no longer fixated on how things must unfold. Instead, you are attentive to how you are meant to move within unfolding moments. This shift is subtle but powerful. It releases you from anxiety about control and anchors you in responsibility over response. Archangel Michael strengthens this posture because a steady spirit is harder to shake than a perfect plan. You are learning that clarity does not always arrive as certainty. Sometimes it arrives as steadiness in the midst of unanswered questions. You may still not know every next step, but you know when not to move. You know when something does not align, even if you cannot fully articulate why. This knowing is not fragile. It is resilient. It does not panic when pressed. It simply holds. There is also a deepening trust forming between you and your own discernment. You are no longer dismissing inner signals as overthinking. You are learning the difference between fear-based thoughts and intuitive awareness. Fear rushes and demands immediate resolution. Intuition remains calm even when it warns. This distinction is becoming clear now, and it is changing how you navigate decisions. You may find that external chaos affects you less than it once did. News, opinions, and emotional currents around you no longer sweep you away as easily. This does not mean you are indifferent. It means you are centered. Centered people can engage without being consumed. Archangel Michael's presence reinforces this centering, reminding you that stability is a form of strength. There may be moments when others question your calm or misinterpret your boundaries as distance. Let them. You are not required to explain your growth to everyone. Some people only understand change once they experience its fruit. Your task is not to convince, but to remain consistent. Consistency reveals truth over time. You are also beginning to recognize how much energy you once spent anticipating reactions that never came or preparing for outcomes that never occurred. That energy is returning to you now. With it comes creativity, focus, and a renewed sense of agency. When worry loosens its grip, space opens for intention. This phase teaches you that discernment is not about avoiding mistakes entirely, but about recovering quickly and wisely when things do not go as expected. You are becoming less afraid of missteps because you trust your ability to correct course. This trust reduces hesitation. It allows you to move forward without paralysis. Archangel Michael often trains souls not to fear failure, but to fear misalignment. Failure can teach. Misalignment drains. You are learning to prioritize alignment even when it means slower progress. Slow aligned movement outpaces rushed confusion every time. There is also an increased sensitivity to timing within you. You sense when to speak and when silence carries more power. You sense when to act and when waiting preserves strength. This timing is not calculated, it is felt, and it becomes more accurate with practice. You may notice that your prayers or intentions have changed tone. They are less about demanding outcomes and more about seeking wisdom. This shift signals maturity of faith. Trust grows when control loosens. And when trust grows, peace follows naturally. Some of you may feel moments of vulnerability as this old armor of constant vigilance falls away. Vulnerability does not mean exposure to harm. It means openness to truth. With discernment sharpened, vulnerability becomes safe. You are no longer open indiscriminately. You are open wisely. Archangel Michael remains present through this refinement, guarding what is forming within you. He ensures that clarity does not harden into rigidity and that openness does not dissolve into naivety. Balance is being established, and balance sustains long journeys. You may also sense anticipation without anxiety. A feeling that something meaningful is approaching, not with urgency, but with inevitability. This is alignment at work. When preparation meets timing, movement becomes natural rather than forced. As you stand here now, recognize the difference between who you were at the beginning of this message and who you are becoming now. The change may not be dramatic, but it is real. It shows how you breathe, how you pause, how you choose. Remain attentive. Remain grounded. The next understanding will bring this entire journey into practical focus. What you have been learning internally is about to express itself externally in ways that will confirm the shift you sensed from the very beginning. My beloved one, now you are standing at the place where inner clarity begins to shape outward movement. What has been forming quietly within you is no longer just awareness. It is becoming direction. You may feel a stronger sense of readiness, not because every detail is clear, but because hesitation no longer dominates you. Archangel Michael's nearness is especially present here, guiding you as discernment turns into deliberate action. You are beginning to recognize that alignment does not always require dramatic change. Sometimes it requires subtle adjustments made consistently. A conversation approached differently. A boundary honored without apology. A decision delayed until peace confirms it. These small choices accumulate power. Over time, they reshape your path more effectively than sudden, impulsive shifts ever could. There is also a noticeable change in how you approach responsibility. You are no longer carrying what is not yours to hold. You still care, but you no longer confuse care with control. This release creates room for strength. Archangel Michael teaches that true guardianship does not mean absorbing every burden. It means knowing which ones are divinely assigned and which ones must be set down. You may notice that when challenges arise now, you respond with curiosity instead of immediate resistance. You ask what this moment requires rather than why it exists. This posture keeps you flexible without making you passive. Flexibility allows wisdom to move through you rather than against you. There is also a growing confidence in your ability to navigate complexity. You are less intimidated by uncertainty because you trust your discernment to adjust as new information appears. You no longer need everything resolved in advance to move forward. This trust frees you from waiting endlessly for perfect conditions. Some of you are realizing that the peace you feel now is not fragile. It is not dependent on silence or isolation. It remains even when decisions must be made or conversations must happen. This is evidence of internal grounding. Peace rooted in alignment can coexist with activity. Archangel Michael's influence is evident in how you stand firm without becoming rigid. You are learning to hold your position while remaining open to refinement. This balance keeps you teachable without making you impressionable. It protects you from both stubbornness and confusion. You may also feel a clearer sense of what deserves your commitment moving forward. Time, energy, and attention feel more precious now. You are less willing to scatter them. This focus is not limitation. It is stewardship. What you invest in intentionally begins to return meaningfully. As this message resonates, allow yourself to actively participate in this moment. Like this video so this clarity can reach others who are standing in similar quiet transitions. Share it with someone who has told you they feel a shift but cannot explain it. Leave a comment expressing what has changed for you recently, even if it feels subtle. Giving language to growth strengthened it. If you have been receiving value and guidance here, subscribe to this channel and stay connected. Join this growing space of discernment and truth where messages arrive right when they are needed. Your presence matters more than you realize, and your engagement helps these words find those who are searching silently. There is something important approaching that builds directly on everything you have been learning. What comes next will help you recognize how to act when clarity meets opportunity. It will bring practical understanding to the inner work you have been doing. Hold on, because the next insight will help you see how timing and courage intersect, and why this preparation could not have happened any other way. This is where awareness becomes movement, and you will want to receive what is unfolding. My beloved soul, now you are entering a space where preparation begins to reveal its purpose. but once felt like quiet internal work is starting to show its shape. You may not yet see the full picture, but you can sense its direction. This is how wisdom unveils itself, not all at once, but enough to invite trust. Archangel Michael remains near, steady and watchful, as you learn to recognize when it is time to stand rather than wait. You may notice that situations are asking more clarity from you now. Not more effort, not more sacrifice, but more honesty. Where you once navigated by endurance, you are now navigating by alignment. This requires presence. It asks you to be awake to what is actually happening, not what you hoped would happen. Presence is powerful because it prevents you from living in delay or regret. There is also a shift in how you experience responsibility. Responsibility no longer feels like pressure imposed from outside. It feels like ownership arising from within. You understand that your choices shape not only outcomes, but your integrity. This awareness does not weigh you down, it grounds you. When responsibility aligns with truth, it becomes empowering rather than exhausting. You may feel moments where fear attempts to revisit, not loudly, but subtly. It may question whether you are truly ready, whether you are misreading the signs, whether staying where you are would be safer. Recognize this voice without obeying it. Fear often speaks when growth is irreversible. Archangel Michael does not remove fear entirely. He teaches you not to kneel before it. There is a noticeable strengthening in how you hold uncertainty now. Instead of trying to eliminate it, you allow it to exist without dominating your thoughts. This is emotional intelligence forming alongside spiritual maturity. Uncertainty no longer feels like danger. It feels like space for wisdom to operate. You are learning that not knowing everything does not mean you know nothing. You may also observe that your language is changing. You speak with more intention. You promise less casually. You commit more carefully. Words carry weight for you now, because you understand they shape direction. This awareness protects you from unnecessary entanglements and misplaced obligations. Archangel Michael's presence is reflected in your growing ability to stand alone without feeling isolated. Solitude no longer threatens you. It strengthens you. You understand now that being grounded in yourself allows you to connect more authentically with others. Dependence dissolves. Interdependence becomes possible. There is also a clear boundary between empathy and responsibility forming within you. You can feel compassion without absorbing pain that is not yours to carry. This distinction preserves your strength. Empathy guided by discernment allows you to support without sacrificing your own stability. You may feel an increased sensitivity to misalignment in your surroundings. This does not mean you must escape everything that feels imperfect. It means you are learning to adjust your position within it. Sometimes alignment requires leaving. Sometimes it requires staying without compromise. Wisdom knows the difference. As this phase continues, you may find yourself reflecting less on what you lost and more on what you learned. Loss no longer defines the story. Insight does. This reframing restores dignity to past experiences without trapping you in them. Nothing was wasted. Everything contributed. Archangel Michael guards this understanding carefully because meaning transforms memory. When meaning is revealed, pain loses its power to repeat. You are no longer reliving. You are integrating. Integration allows the past to inform without controlling. There is also a readiness forming for accountability. Not blame, but ownership. You are willing to acknowledge where you chose silence, delay, or avoidance. Dishonesty is not punishment. It is liberation. Accountability frees you from denial and opens the door to conscious choice. You may sense that certain doors are closer than before, not because you pushed harder, but because you waited wisely. Timing has aligned with capacity. You are becoming someone who can sustain what arrives. Readiness is not about desire alone. It is about ability to steward what comes next. Remain attentive to your inner signals. Fatigue may signal the need for rest, not retreat. Excitement may signal opportunity, not recklessness. Discernment lives in balance. You are learning to read these signals with increasing accuracy. As you stand here now, trust that the work done in silence has prepared you for clarity and motion. What comes next will ask you to step forward not with urgency, but with conviction. And when that moment arrives, you will recognize it, not because it is loud, but because it resonates deeply with the alignment you have been cultivating all along. My beloved one, you have arrived at a moment of recognition. Not an ending, but a confirmation. What began as a subtle inner stirring has now formed a steady awareness within you. You can feel it in how you stand, how you decide, how you no longer abandon yourself to confusion or urgency. This is the fruit of alignment. Archangel Michael has been near throughout this journey, not as a distant symbol, but as a guardian of truth, strengthening you quietly so that when clarity arrives, you would be able to hold it. You may notice now that what once felt mysterious no longer feels threatening. The unknown still exists, but it no longer dominates your emotions. You have learned that uncertainty does not equal danger when discernment is present. This understanding changes how you approach the future. You are not waiting for certainty to move. You are moving with wisdom even when certainty unfolds gradually. There is a deep settling within you now, a sense that you no longer need to prove what you know or rush to demonstrate growth. You are becoming comfortable letting transformation speak for itself. This confidence is not loud. It is grounded. It will not need permission. Archangel Michael's influence is evident here because true strength does not seek validation. It stands in truth and lets truth reveal itself. You are also more aware of your responsibility to remain aligned. Alignment is not a one-time achievement. It is a practice. You understand now that clarity must be protected through consistent choices. This does not make life rigid. It makes it intentional. Intention turns daily decisions into a path rather than a pattern. You may sense a quiet readiness to step into conversations, roles, or opportunities you once avoided. Not because fear is gone, but because fear no longer leads. Courage has taken its place. Courage rooted in discernment is calm, steady, and precise. It does not rush. It moves when the moment is right. There is also a release happening here. A release of old narratives that no longer fit who you are becoming. You are no longer defining yourself by what hurt you, delayed you, or confused you. You are defining yourself by what you have learned, integrated, and chosen differently. This shift restores authority over your story. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to this transition. He guards thresholds, and you are crossing one now, not into perfection, but into responsibility for the clarity you have received. Awareness always comes with invitation. The invitation now is to live in a way that honors what you know. You may feel a desire to protect your peace more intentionally moving forward. This is wise. Peace is not passivity. It is alignment sustained. You are learning that protecting peace sometimes requires saying no, sometimes requires speaking truth, and sometimes requires walking away without explanation. All of these can be acts of obedience. As you move ahead, remember this: you do not need to recreate this clarity every day. You simply need to return to it when distractions arise. Return to stillness. Return to discernment. Return to the quiet knowing that has been cultivated within you. That is where guidance remains accessible Let this message settle not as inspiration alone, but as instruction. You are capable of living from this place. You are equipped to choose with awareness. You are protected as you move forward honestly. This is not the end of the journey. It is the point where the journey becomes intentional. Before we close, seal what you have received. Type "I walk in divine purpose" in the comments if this message confirms what your spirit already knows. Blessing code 3030 has now been released. And now receive this final word as a continuation of the same sacred flow. I hear the Spirit saying, "Those who strengthen my voice will never walk without covering." This mission exists to reach the ones who feel this stirring but have no language for it yet. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not funding a channel. You are fueling a calling. Just as oil kept the lamp burning in the temple, your support keeps this word moving into homes where clarity is desperately needed. This is not a suggestion. It is a moment of obedience responding to what God has placed in your hands. I release blessing over every giver now. May increase meet you, may peace guard you, and may your obedience return to you multiplied. Act now, so boldly, and let your support become part of the testimony God is writing through this message.